So good morning. We'll do the Manjushri prayer to Manjushri. Lama Dangumbo Jamba Yang Lan Chanza Lo Kange London Jinyen Jenda Nitra Nanda Rasa Jinyen Dengen Jijin Sijir Niji Tugar Lekbam Zen Konda Sip Zendora Mari Menton Donga Jizir Donzo Kunla Puji Tat Yen lan zhu ju yang den zon zhu dren che zhu nye mo nye long le ji cha zhu zhu zi jen ma re men zi dung a nyu gu ji nye jen zi ral jin de ne da jin sa ji tar zin yen den le zon ja zi tu we chu zhan chu dan chu nye jen zi Dale menzen jambe yang lan de mara bazana 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 de mara Umara Pazana de Mara 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 Pazana de Arapazana de Marapazana de Marapazana de Marapazana de Marapazana de Marapazana de Marapazana Arapazana de Denje Chenra Wizard Dale Timo Member Razane Kadan Denje Shunlo Tobai Lode Pobe Nawa Zandu Son Jing O Redan Jingur Janzi Jada Kaden Zonda Majeba Palo Jinji Jinjabe Jindu Jima Mebala Mura Dutude Kozungu Bachim Bengone Chanza Jinja Zuju Shiva Nenzera Danji Dutu Jinji Zuzim Branze Duzo Kangi Shazanta Mingam Gizar Zimben Donda Shin Zimbe Zive Zindum Barvendu Kun Migin Zijur Tuje Dama Kune Juren Jiden Sunji Konjabe Tuan Be Mogarbe Shabe Tirin Dale Yenzurashon Ujenzolim Be Mendon Bozere Jay Nandoranjin Linjidu Senzo Beji Enden Jombarve Peman Junen Dale Yenzurashon Gumbolo Duarian Dewandan Tome Nyen Cholan Jujinda Chujon Esha Nanyen Baozo Anzalin Jinjo Nanjinda Eshon Quando Deo garin jin bingulo in dengun junga veshazrado nimbi denzi bibi nanjaroba time vezre shavjinda ejon ridon jamba shina shinale ngombe lonle po beter jendol londo jenzen jenzen ngawanjur mi ban jambi anjinda ejon kangi dala ribalo badan doji denje menga nalaso labazadan wonguru shinlabe Muji Jinjin La Menda Ishon, Namon Guru, Chinin Pamen, Dunji, Shizala Kunjaran, Juntuji Jimbejin, Dujikala Kamentanawa, Palden La Misha Jinda Ishon, Yende Sanji Kandanyanaya, Kadin Sanji Kunela Bigwen, Savila Misha La Swande, Tazondo Lamna Chelanjur, Konda Jujur Dongi Jidena, Dejela Marjurba Kansuda, Tender Tambichu Jicharmembe. Semper de banda dandir jeje namo arya tambal hay ke danlu dan jenge ndum da name kenam dan dua kunji danam jizambar tamje ke do sosur te gurji majurndo nam ka danyam besem jen tamje namdul tenji dewala name ba yanda par zo bisanji jingo parim burchela Chine Jango Brasha, Tei Chedo, Tiba Chimbe Shonglu, Jaze Chimbo Shivala, Teni Jizebe, Shong Chimbo Chanju, Sembi Chobalanjuwa, Tenit, Sulshindu Sen, and Yam Solan Radio, Yam the Samba Chanju Choto, Tujava, and Che de Sen's Hall. So, first, before we begin the meritorious activity of teaching and listening Dharma, we need to have a right motivation or the right purpose of doing so. So, the right purpose or the motivation, uh, when it becomes right motivation, it's that when we are able to generate this awakened mind, and that is considering as the greatest, what to say, correct motivation. So therefore, we are trying to generate at the moment. And to generate that, we need to think that for the sake of all the motherly sentient beings equal to it space, without exception, even the enemies, including uh, the person who really dislike or interfering, even those kind of like try to see as a non other than the person who did great kindness, such as like a mother, and then to best way to pay their kind back is to free them from the cyclic existence and its cause, which is karma and afflictive emotions, and then to lead them to complete enlightenment. For this purpose, that I'm going to listening this Mahayana scripture composed by Shantideva, the way of Bodhisattva's life, and then I'm ready to implement it. I'm going to implement whatsoever I understand. And with that kind of enthusiasm or the motivation, and listening all these Dharma teachings becomes like an exact Mahayana spiritual path, which means it becomes the cause to produce the fruition of enlightenment. And then top of that intention, motivation, and then also prepared that until this teaching complete, like listen carefully in an excellent way, and then try to implant within our mind that meaning of this teaching firstly, and then top of that, if we have further kind of like a capacity, then also try to memorize its word, which clarifying the meaning. So with that kind of preparation, listen this. And then the actual teaching here, this way of Bodhisattva's life has 10 chapter with the 4 theme. So first 2 theme we already studied, which is how to generate and receive Bodhisattva's vow. And then second theme is how to maintain properly without letting transgress. And then the third theme is to further how one can develop our this bodhicitta or the Mahayana spiritual path until or the kind of like ultimately until what destinies that one should develop or improve. And then the fourth theme is to dedicate and making aspirations. So, um, so these first two we already studied. So today, at the moment, we are studying this third one, that how to improve or develop this our Mahayana spiritual path or this bodhicitta further. And for that, mainly, in short, there are three things required, which is the diligence, meditative concentrations, and wisdom. So the diligent, and then how to develop or boost diligence within oneself, that we already studied. And now that we are focusing, learning or studying about how to develop the meditative concentration in this chapter 8. And within this chapter 8, and then so far we already studied until this 38 stanza, that so far that what we studied about, that the brief uh, guideline of how this meditative concentration is important, and then to have these meditative concentrations, and we need to avoid or abandon those contrary which prevent us to develop the meditative concentration within oneself, and which is in brief, in short, that uh, involving one's physical in crowd and mental in distraction. So these are the two things. These are the two things is the mainly contrary of meditative concentrations. Or this two is also we are known as a mundane. So the mundane means the being, the person, whoever involving in these two circumstances or situations, that known as a engaging in mundane activity or the worldly activities, which prevent us or distract us to gain this, obtain or gain this meditative concentrations. So among these two things, the first one, until this stanza 38, we already complete that, how to abandon or avoid the contrary, which is the what do you call involving our physical in crowdness. And within that, the crowdness means that the inner beings, and then outer material and repetition and so on, all these things, that how to um, perceive all these things and then avoid, and then to rely on solitude place, that the benefit of kind of like isolating oneself from the crowdness, which until this 38 stanza we studied. And now from 39 stanza onward, and then now Shantideva here introducing the second contraries, which is the mental distractions actually. So the mental distraction is also the one another contrary of the meditative concentrations, which also prevent us to develop that. So now from here, this stanza, this 39, this one stanza, stanza 39 specifically, it is contained, or the brief instruction that the, how to say, why we need to uh, abandon or avoid these mental distractions. In short, in very brief. And then later from stanza 40 onward, it is elaborating how to do that, elaborating. So the now here, this 39 stanza, Jigden didang parol duangs, deba namni pungchol dirni sedang chingdang chu parol dune nyal sok drus. In this and in the worlds to come, future, right, which is future, worlds to come, desire or the crave, the parent of all woe. Woe. Normally, when we converse, whoa, whoa, it is whoa, yeah, yeah. The desire is actually whoa. That's what it is saying here. Desires, the parent of all woe. Exactly. It's very matching with our daily attitude. Because in this world, killing, bonds, and wounds, and in the next, the hells and other pains. Or we can say, like, in this world, losing one's life, right? Losing life and bound by desire and all those these conditions and wounding and all the and the in the next life the hell will create. You see, therefore hell, yeah, we have known this in Mahayana saying hell is not exist. Yes, hell is not exist when within your mind desire and all those emotion is not exist. As long as all this emotion exist, and hell is also exist. That we need to differentiate very clear. Oh, hell is not exist. Oh, that's wonderful. Oh, your desire is also not exist. What? I cannot leave. I cannot leave this behind without carrying with me. I needed that to satisfy myself. Hell no exists. Okay, oh, that's very good, wonderful. And then if that the case, if we say like liberation is also not exist, and how it looks like. Anyway, so in short, the hell will going to create it. Hell will going to create by this desire, right? In the next, yes. As long as we have this emotion, as that will going to create some fruition, that will going to create something, which is all these nonsense things. And Shantideva here using the worst one, the hell. Again, worst case scenario. He's preparing for the worst case scenario. Anyway, so here now, in this and in the worlds to come, desire the parent of all woe. Now here, this desire here, this desire. Let me tell you again here this one before we go into it also. That is that only the desire, attachment, and lust is the contrary of our meditative concentrations? Basically, no. Anger is also contrary of meditative concentrations. Ignorant is also that. All these three poisons, three emotions, mainly the root three poisons, are contrary, yes. But why here Shantideva in this chapter only talks about the attachment, desire, the lust? Because the hated how to deal, he already completed in chapter 6. So he is assuming that you know how to avoid the hatred. And now here, mainly Shantideva talking about the desire, which is actually the strongest distraction. Anger, compared with the desire, it's rare, and less. Desire comes everywhere. As long as we Just stay single, relax, and all this desire starting dreaming, dreaming that, oh, if I have this um, kind of such and such wealth or reputations or partners or families, right? Families. Like dreaming. See, desire is kind of like a never left us behind. Very stubborn one. That emotion is so stubborn emotion, comes everywhere, which the anger, not everywhere. As long as you didn't encounter with someone who really mocking or who really agitating you. But desire, you don't need anything. It just comes. It's not like anger. And ignorance is also like that. And then why Shantideva here, it's not talking about ignorant, because ignorant, how to deal with the ignorant, he will going to talk in the next chapter, chapter 9. Chapter 9 is mainly for antidote for the ignorant, how to lay it low and eradicate ignorant, the wisdom, developing wisdom, right? This too is like that. When our ignorant is stronger, our wisdom is become weaker and weaker. When our wisdom becomes stronger and stronger, ignorant become weaker and weaker. These two never stay in the one stage. They never like each other anyway. Really much destroyer of each other. Destroyer, destroyer of each other. So anyway, so this one, I just want you to know why Shantideva only referring here in this chapter. The contrary of meditative concentration is desire, because the hated he already taught in chapter 6, and ignorant he will going to tell in a chapter 9, the next chapter. So therefore, right now, he's telling. And then desire is actually the most strongest distractions to achieve the meditative concentrations. Yes. With the ignorant, we can still achieve meditative concentrations. Not 100% perfect, yet we can achieve. But with desire, no way. Therefore, he is here talking mainly the desire. Okay? Okay, and then here, that this desire, yes, generally we can understand as talking about attaching or how to say, desire to all five senses of source, five senses, what? How to say? Five? Yeah, five senses of object and everything. But particularly here, Shantideva referring here desire to two things, which is the, what do you call it? The gender, I should say gender desire, gender craving, lust, right? Gender, that's better. But actually, actually, when he taught this, I think he taught to the male. So therefore, he is using here. Actually, in a text, he's using the female. But now here we have both kind of like students, both male and female. So therefore, it's better to use just gender. Gender is the Gender object is the one main object of desire. That's the biggest object of desire. Yes, it is. We can understand by history. We can understand by our own experience as well. Gender object, the desiring or attaching or craving to gender object is the main thing or the most difficultest desire to abandon among the desire. Therefore, here now, Shantideva talks about this now. Here, desire means desiring or attaching or craving to the gender object. That's what it's talking about. And then also on the other hand, it also talking about the material distractions, like a dreaming, right? May I have such and such? I don't know what to say. May I have May I have a chocolate? Yeah, that is still, may I have a chocolate? This is also desire. And then, may I have a good family? Nice watch. Nice watch. Yeah, may I have a nice watch? And may I have a fancy car? And may I have a big luxury house, property? Or may I have a kind of like the high rank position? I don't know which one is considering high rank position. President? What do you call it? The premium? Premium? Premier, president, prime minister, which are considering as a very high rank position, right? According to mundane, these are the high rank position, isn't it? Right? And then wealth. Yeah, wealth. May I have a great wealth? Let's say lots of wealth, right? High rank, lots of wealth. May I have a fame and all this. This also we dream. Shantideva here, very smart. After he taught how to avoid the physical from the crowdness, right? Now he is teaching here how to avoid the mental, mental from the distraction. Even we do that actually, when we are isolated ourselves in a very solitude place, but still this mind thinking about all these things. 10 years after I do this, then I will reach that high rank position. Then I can earn that much wealth. Then I can have very good, nice, beautiful partner. Then this is actually happening when we stay single. When we stay like relaxed, nobody around. If we do not have anything other to practice, then this is what will going to be ending. Kind of like a spending your time by thinking. It is like, isn't it? The daydreaming, isn't it? Yeah, daydream. We call daydream. Yeah, we do that. Normal people, most of the people does that. When they are with the friend, busy crowd, they are doing so many things. And then every friend gone, everything gone, relax. Then thinking about all these things, planning for the future. That is daydreaming. That is actually happening. Now here, Shantideva, after he taught this how to abandon or avoid the physical from the crowdness, Then now he is teaching how to avoid or abandon the inner mental mind from the distraction now, right? And then what is the most destructive things could distract ourselves when we are in a single, alone? One biggest object is gender. And then the second is those all things, right? Reputation. In short, reputation, wealth, right? Isn't it? Reputation, wealth, and what? And what could other could be? Priests, fame, famous, right? Fame, looking for fame. Oh, if I do in this way, may I become famous. Maybe I will become famous in my society, in my community, in my province, in my country, in my world. And that depends on a individual's competence. Some people only looking the fame within a community. But once that person achieve that, and he will going to increase, no worries, never worries, he will going to increase his grave. Oh, I already famous in my community. Now I should make myself famous in city, in my town. And then once it achieve, goes next. Never satisfied. Keep continue daydreaming. We can see very clear right nowadays. For instance, some of those presidents, they already get it now. Actually, now it's better for them to just satisfied and then go away. But no, still holding, right? Holding there, holding. That's really happening. This is one obvious example, okay? But in the small, within a community, within a town, there are people also similar like that. So anyway, here desire refers to mainly to these two things. Okay, when the person desire to this first gender object, which is the greatest destructive for our mind, and then the second thing is the gaining reputations and wealth and fame and so on, all this outer kind of like a materialistics or the outer, and then inner is the gender, right? And these two things, as long as the whoever desire on these two things, and that will be the parent of all woe. This is what it is talking about now here. The parent of all woe. What kind of woe it brings? The woe is in this world, killing, bonds, and wound. That's woe. And in the next, the hells and other pains. Hell will create. Actually, in Tibetan word, it's saying hell will create by it. This is very short, brief, is it now? Shantideva's first, maybe to the some student have this sharp faculties. May this information is good enough for them to abandon the crave, attachment, desire, last. May this information, may this teaching advice is good enough. Paraldone nyalso droves. Okay. And then from now, next, this 40 stanza onward, elaborating how to avoid this distraction in a very elaborate explanation. And then specifically from here, elaborating how to avoid the craving or the desire to gender object. Okay, from here, gender object specifically. This stanza 40, 41, and 42. This three stanza is talking about how to abandon or avoid craving and lust by contemplating the hardship to obtain the gender object. Hardship to obtain, is it? Hardship to obtain. Hardship in obtaining. Okay. So from this three stanza, 40, 41, and 42, it's Shantideva introducing that how to abandon or avoid the craving and lust by contemplating the hardship in obtaining, right? Hardship in obtaining what? The gender object, right? Okay, so also let me tell you this ahead. Here, this all teachings, sometimes we could misunderstand. Could happen misunderstand. Even within us before, we have this lacking understanding this instruction. There are some lacking. Yes, you understand this instruction, but not completely. Lacking, missing something. When I was studying this, I have that problem too. When you just follow this read, and then maybe we feel like Shantideva talks a lot of negative about gender, and particularly the female here to us, right? Negative things. We take as that way, you know. When we take it that way, we are missing some information there. Why he talking all these things? We didn't understand complete why he is talking in this way. That is quite often happening among when we learn about these teachings. So therefore, I just want to clarify a little bit ahead that, okay, so it is not the purpose we hate each other at all. If you taking this all information as a bill to hate it to each other, oh, you get it 50% of this information, but you lost another 50% of this information. Hate it, it's not allowed. He already taught in 6th chapter, regardless. Right? And never generate hatred out of these informations to each other, gender each other. How to say? Male to female, female to male. Never generate hatred by studying this. Okay? Mainly why he talks all this, the bottom line or the fundamental purpose is to remove the craving, lust. Understand? For this alone purpose, he's talking all of this. If anyone who does not have this problem, there's no needed, I could say. Understand? That needs to keep in mind before we study this. Otherwise, we're studying hating each other, you know. Oh, yeah, this is truth. It's because of them. No. We easily pointing other. The book cuts the line. Pointing out is so easy. Oh, I am having all this difficult because of this my partner, because of this my things, object, gender object, right? We easily raise that thought first. Then if oneself is a little bit wise, then yes, also we concern about, oh no, not 100% that object, but also myself. That if the person is a little bit sensible, then they will think that. But most of the time, we fail to think that. We just like to blaming other. I am having this because of you. We also said this in an argument, isn't it? Right? When we argue with our partner, we also say that. I am having this all a struggle because of you. If you are not here, I will free. Right? We easily say that. Yeah, that's just fact. Cannot neglect, cannot forbid. So anyway, so that's the main point here, okay? So the main point here, Shantideva talks very elaborate, okay? He talks this specific about this gender object. He talked long list, very elaborate, how to avoid or abandon this craving for the gender object, right? Seeking or attach to the gender each other. That is actually the biggest problem in our world, actually. Yes. I can say this based on my own experience, and also as I could say this based on Shakyamuni Buddha, how he advised, and also Guru Padma Sambhava's how he advised, how he addressed. You know Shakyamuni Buddha, what he said in this sutra called Ngaljungido. Ngaljungido means the sutra which talks about the Ngaljung. Ngal is the womb. Jung is the coming out, right? Happening. How to say now? I don't know. Ngaljung. Huh? Birth sutra? Yeah, maybe birth sutra. Huh? Beta? Ngaljungido. Ngaljungido. Actually, there's one sutra that which Shakyamuni Buddha taught to Ananda. Ananda, he raised this question privately when, one occasion when Shakyamuni Buddha was just resting under the tree. And then Ananda raised this question that how we humans are born and how we humans normally spend our time and what will be the best to spend our life. There's three questions he raised. And then Shakyamuni Buddha answered how we born and how we spend most of the time and how it should be spending in a meaningful time to what to do. In this sutra, he explained this. in this sutra, that when Shakyamuni Buddha talked about how normally we humans spend our time, whole lifetime, in that he clearly said, the root of the suffering, male will going to chase after female, female going to chase after male. Very clear. He addressed that way. It is so clear, no any confusion in this subject, right? How we normal people spend our life, our time, always chasing this gender object. That's how normal people spend their life. And then he also clearly said the root of the suffering. Root of the suffering, female chased male, male chased after female, which is the root of the suffering. Very clear. Therefore, also this Shantideva, very elaborating how to avoid that, because this is the most difficult things to avoid or abandon. He's being very careful to explain as much as he can convince us to give up this. The mainly I'm talking about, still I'm talking here now. It does not mean that the person who have already family and the spouse, you hate each other, and then you kind of like neglect each other. It does not mean that. Mainly, even though you have a spouse, but as long as you reduce your craving, your attach, your lust, and that is the main point. Okay? Even you have a spouse, partner, but as long as you don't have that issue, and it won't really disturb to develop your meditative concentration. So mainly here, Shantideva most worry is because it goes to prevent you to develop your meditative concentration, right? That's also the another big point. Even having a spouse, but less or none of it, the craving, attachment, and lust, then no problem. It won't prevent us to develop our meditative concentration. So as long as it's not preventing us to the kind of like develop the meditative concentration, the purpose is there. Purpose of avoiding or abandoning gender object is already there. You see, that's why for us, like people like us in a lay here, that who have a spouse, who have a partner, this teaching should take as a lay it low or eradicate the craving, attach, desire, the lust. That we should take all these lessons to eradicate, lay it low, and eventually eradicate that one. Okay? We should not take this all information and then generate hatred to one's spouse. One's spouse, right? One's spouse. And we learn all this, and kind of like how to say, letting irritate and generate anger, hatred towards that. That's not right either. So therefore, and we should study this all to not losing its main purpose. Okay? For us. For ordination, it's different way. They can train this in a little different way. Right? They can train this in a little different way. The lay who having all this partner, a spouse, we can train this in a little different way. That mainly these are the two things, to not to increase, lay it low, eventually eradicate. For this purpose, contemplate on all these meanings. But still, generally, that is the biggest destructive things. Yes, that's truth, right? That's truth. Therefore, Shakyamuni Buddha, he said this in Sutra. The root of the suffering, right? Root of the suffering. That's how we're spending our life. Actually, he said this. Even the male become old, still wanting the young lady. He said very clear that. And chasing, even he become white hair, lose all teeth, but is still not knowing, not noticing that he lost his hair become white and teeth are loose, wrinkles are coming. He's still looking. This is talking about the normal people, okay? It's not talking about if that person is a little bit already studied, practicing, then that's different situation. That kind of thought may arise sometimes because of the habit in the past, but it won't really agitating much as normal people. Normal people, they do not have any train on it. So therefore, they have nothing else to think other than this, isn't it? And likewise, also Shakyamuni Buddha said in this same sutra, when females become old, they also looks after young. They're looking the young boy. They want to have a young boy. See, that's how the normal people, they spend their whole life. Most of the time within their life, mainly they look this one, gender object. That's the biggest distraction. In short, that's how I'm saying that this is the biggest destructive object for us. And then also Guru Padmasambhava also said about it, that he said, Kimtab dilla jarma thakduni tabmo kunzu dungal nyangen yu. Look, within 2 lines. Very short content, complete meaning. Guru Rinpoche said, Kimtab dilla jarma thak. Kimtab means marriage, right? Spouse, right? As soon as you involve in marriage, you have a spouse. Immediately after that, okay, immediately after that, he said it's already began. Began what? Began, you already collected all the cause of conflict, right? Enmity, argument, lament or grief, and suffering. 5 things. Now you prepare to experience this 5 result. That's what he said. Tabmo, kunzu, nyangen, dungal. You means the cause, right? you collecting the cause of this five fruition as soon as you involve in marriage, as soon as you get stuck in partner, as soon as you start partner, you better to prepare to experience this five fruition because you already selected or collected the cause of it. You see. And then including here, Shantideva also mentioning about same thing. These are so truth. I don't have even 1% of objection upon this statement that which Guru Padma Sambhava made it and which Shakyamuni Buddha made it. And then now here Shantideva was going to make it. Within a desirable object, this gender object is the core one. Anyway, in short, the core one. Right? If anyone able to abandon or avoid that craving, that lust and attachment, I think rest of the other attachment is easy to avoid. Anyway, here now Shantideva here begins elaborating how to avoid the mental distractions. And then here, mental distractions, especially to gender object. How to avoid that? By contemplating upon hardship in obtaining, right? First, this 3 stanza. And then next, again, he talks so many, almost like a 10, 20 the stanzas talks about it, or alone. This alone, he tried to elaborate like a 20 stanza, more than 20 stanza, I think. Is it? Oh, yeah. So many stanzas. It is actually goes until 78 stanza. From here, stanza 40 to 78. Almost 38 stanza, isn't 38 or 39 stanza, only talks about this thing, how to avoid this one, how to abandon this one, the problem of gender object attachment. Again, I'm reminding you, it is only purpose to reduce or lay it low and eradicate the attachment. That's it. Not to generate hatred, okay? Okay, so how he talks? He talks first here, this one. Ponya moyi ngun 강칠 두마르 솔답칭 딕바 남삼 자민랑 강기 된두 마젬par jigbalayang daoshukshin zekyang separ shejurte kangla yongsu kyutpe na chokdu gajur deda nit kengrit nit yin shenminna rawandani dangminla rabdu deching yongshene chichir nyangen demidos. So I think it's better to combine all this in one shot. That you send your go between both boy and maid. Is it maid, right? With many invitation for the prize. Avoiding in the quest, no sin, no deed that bring an ill renown, nor act of frightful risk, nor loss and ruin of possession, all for pleasure and the perfect bliss, that outmost penetrating kiss. Of what in truth is nothing but heap of bones, devoid of self, without autonomy, is this the only object of desire and lust, sooner passed beyond all suffering and grief. For me, the possession, this the 41 stanza, possession or the wealth are similar, right? Same, right? Possession, loss and ruin of possession. 41 stanza, the second line. Possession and wealth are similar, right? Is it similar? Belonging, right? Belonging.
Wealth is all of your money, and possessions are the things that you own.
Own, belongings. Belongings. And then the outmost penetrating kiss. Here they translated kiss. Actually, it's talking about the embrace or copulate. Copulate?
Yeah, it's very essential. Penetrating kiss. It's a very close, very.
Yeah, the copulate is very direct, right?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Copulate, embracing, or intercourse, right? Intercourse.
This is a bit more poetic though than that.
Yeah. I think we need a little bit direct here.
That's a little bit further down the street.
That's we always hesitate to talk, and then we lost the main point. But actually in Tibetan we also just talk about this embrace.
Yes.
Until the embrace.
Yes.
The intercourse I added. And also it talks the embrace and copulate. I think copulate also could be understood in Tibetan way that it's cute is like touching each other, right?
Copulate is actually the act of intercourse.
Yes. Cute.
This is more of the first setting out, the first promise.
It's not only talking about the first. It's all. This is the outmost fruition you are looking for is this. By all this hardship, that's what it is talking about. Outmost fruition is not just kiss, right? Yeah, no, right? Absolutely no. There's no doubt.
Well, females may be different.
No, same. Anyway, so the embrace or copulate of what in, and then the next one, the last one, of what in the truth is nothing but heap of bones, devoid of self, without autonomy, is this translation. What I understanding from this, it's not really giving me some very fully understanding the meaning of the what in Tibetan word saying. But I don't know how you taking it. By the way, let me explain, then you will see, right? Let me explain what does it mean here. So the here mainly Shantidevas talks about the hardship, right? You are how to say, spending your energy, hardship, right, to obtain that gender object. In hardship, what we need to do, these are actually also a little bit related with the ancient way, actually. Nowadays, that not really 100% we're doing. This is very ancient way, isn't it? This doing like you send your go between both boy and man. Are we doing this today? Not really. Today's this our son, daughter, or whatsoever, they just stay with their partner and then go boom, finish. No need to send here and there, talk between blah blah blah. Not much, right? Where before we used to do that.
No, it still happens.
Yeah, still doing? Yeah, some.
Kids will send their best friend to talk to the other person's best friend to check out the other guy, whether the guy feels the same way or the girl feels the same way. So yes, there is still the sending of the go-between.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And if you're doing that, and then what Shandideva was, this is the one hardship. Shandideva was saying, this is one hardship. This is one hardship that Shandideva was talking about. If we're doing that, we also needs to take this hardship still today. I thought that maybe this hardship may not need so much at this time for this, how to say, this now from now on, right? Because of the um, for instance, I also know many, they just stay together, that's it. No need so much talk in between here and there, and then no need to discuss so much about their life. They just stay, finish. Even parent doesn't know. Right? Even parent doesn't know, they just stay. And after they stay together, then parent know. And when parent know, already late. There's nothing to do. It's already finished. Everything is complete. That I saw many within my friends circle. Okay, anyway, so if you're doing that, and that hardship is still here, today is still here. I thought maybe not much that hardship here. This is very much related with the ancient time, right? Yeah, ancient time we does that. Like parent will going to search, right? And then parent has to be sent someone and talk between and then make sure everything. Actually, that is the very safest safe that is very that system is very protected system. you know I feel especially it's good for the female.
No, it's not.
I feel okay. If not, it's not. Maybe you have some your own feeling or your own reason. But what I feel is that's ancient system, that family involving, right? Family involving in marriage, in settle their life. It's more protected and for both, and especially for the female. I feel. Anyway, you both disagree, then you may have some reasons you can tell. I'm here to listen. I'm here to listen, but I'm just telling this based on my observation, my feeling. Okay, it's not necessarily right. That reason why I feel this, it is because of actually happening in our like region. When the boy and girl set it by parent, and those hardly divorce later, very hardly, because before they divorce they need to concern about so many things. They cannot just, oh, bye bye. No, they cannot say that, right? If they say that, even in our, okay, I'm talking about the Tibetan culture, related to the Tibetan culture. No, the daughter's family member will not let it be. They will fix the boy. They cannot just let it go like this. Without parent involving, just individual made decision. When they divorce, stay 1 month, after 1 month divorce, nothing. Both sides lost.
You're just teaching that separate is better.
Huh?
Isn't that contradicting yourself?
You see, again,
Here, Shanti always say,
talking about the remove crave, attachment, lust. That's the main point I told you. You see, immediately here, even within us here, we're taking misunderstand this. You see? Anyway, so what I am telling, the involving family members in the kind of like a, what do you call it? In couple, it's more protective. That's what I feel. Okay, I might wrong. And also, it's more better for the female too, based on my understanding, based on my culture, what is happening. It's already happened. I know some of the histories that later they just don't want to be together. They want to separate. And then who want to separate? And why want to separate? They will investigate all of them. What is the reason? They cannot just let it go. Oh, they don't want to be together. Okay, then finish. Not like that. Why? Who doesn't want to stay together? Why they doesn't want to stay together? Who started this? Blah, 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 blah. You see, in short, cannot divorce so easily. The where, on the other hand, this is my observation now again. This is Shanti Deva not talking about, okay, Shanti Deva is not talking all these things. Shanti Deva is saying, yeah, best is that one. For that purpose, even you have to separate, better separate for that purpose. As long as you are able to remove that one, that's the goal. That's the main purpose of training oneself to avoiding these mental distractions, daydreaming. Right? We need to be very honest here now. Yes. The person who doesn't know how to practice, who doesn't know how to meditate and anything, who are very, okay, let's say person who doesn't have any experience or education about spiritual training, right? That kind of people is so many in the world, right? Now we have to be very honest. When those type of person, when they alone, yeah, they're daydreaming like this, right? What else they can do? Either they're dreaming about their business or their partner, or their somehow they just distract their mental in this way. That's fact, I think. What do you think?
yeah, I think it's a complicated issue. You're talking about in ancient times, an ancient culture of Tibet, and there are many ancient cultures, each with slightly different approaches to sexuality and marriage.
No, I'm not talking about that one. That one, now forget it. That one, Shanti, they're also not talking about. This is just my own observation, right? I'm talking about this, the person who doesn't have any training, any education about the spiritual at all, just being a very mundane. And most of the time when they're alone, They just spend their time by dreaming, daydreaming, right?
They just follow their own basic emotions.
Yeah, the daydreaming.
Unbridled emotions. Bridle is something you put on a horse to steer it.
Into and anyway, so the into those this kind of concept will going to be arise at that time. I think so. What do you think, Annie?
Me. Yeah, I think that it's a complex, but either you have people who are so involved in the mundane and they have no experience of anything spiritual, so they spend their time really on the problems of the mundane and generating more problems of the mundane, trying to solve their problems, trying to look for happiness. And then sometimes some people in that process start to look for a spiritual path. But until they find a spiritual path, until they meet a teacher, they're raw, they're 100%, 95% trapped.
Spending time on
that
daydreaming. Let's say daydreaming. We're using here daydreaming.
daydreaming.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's, I think, this is just fact. So we cannot reject fact, right? Even person who knows a little bit about all this spiritual training still can stuck in that daydreaming. If so, other one goes without saying, right? Even who knows how to train, how to do, what to do when you are alone, still stuck. If that's the case, the person who doesn't have any idea when they are alone what to do or how to train mind, then it goes without saying. Anyway, so here talking about hardship. Okay. So this is one hardship. Is it hardship? Sending here, there, talking, kind of like a, this is what call a, this will going to end up in a, what you call a, engagement, isn't it? The engagement is the final, this job, isn't it? Until engage, you need to talk all this, send here, there, this all hardship needs to be do. I feel nowadays little less, but Ani is still saying, still today they do that. But nowadays, I think this is a little bit less. Not, they don't spend that much time as we used to spend time in it before, right? Nowadays, so quick.
Yes, but the kids have a lot of the young people,
Kids.
they have a lot of anxiety. The anxiety, oh, will he call me back? Or will she call me back? Or,
Anyway, yeah, so this is all hardship is there, yeah. This is
it's so hard.
no, it is fun. No, it is fun when that all time cross and then you look back, it's fun. But actually the person who is doing, oh, not fun. It's very big burden. You see, there I saw one poem, very nice poem. That there's a one picture in front of the picture that wrote a letter saying the best way to suffer yourself is to waiting someone to make you happy. Best way to suffer yourself to waiting someone to make you happy. That what in that period they does. They wait for someone to make them happy, right? That's why this all texting, calling, emailing, Facebooking, whatsoever. That's why. and one day didn't get any response, then overwhelming. What happened? What happened with him? What happened with her? From both sides. What did I do? Did I say something that which is hurting her or him? Blah, blah, blah. Story after a story. Anyway, so in short here, this is the one hardshipness that Shantideva talks about. To obtain that, you need to go through this procedure, which is hardship. Right? One thing, one hardship. That is okay. The second hardship is a little bit strange for me. The next hardship is where is that? Avoiding in the quest. Is it quest? Quest. No sin, no deed that bring an ill renown.
You throw away your reputation, you do crazy things.
That's what it means.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway, so let me tell you here, what does it mean? Dikpa nam sam chagmin na kangi tendu madzen par jigba layang yangda shu. That is another second hardship, which is talking about Dikpa nam sam. On the one hand, for that purpose, it will force us to engage into many negative activities. Okay? Many negative activities. And also it will, on the other hand, at the same time, it is also force us to do something that which is not well respected even among the human, not from the point of talking about a spiritual, even among the worldly, mundane, according to the mundane point of view, these are not respected behavior, which Changmin, that's not well known, right? Not renowned. Here I can take just this word, ill renown. What is that ill renown behave? Even according to the mundane, worldly point of view, such as a contempting one's parent for that purpose, isn't it? This is very much happening everywhere. Contempting, forgetting what parent did kind to them. Forget it. And even contempting for that object, right? To gain that, to obtain that object, to obtain that gender object. Contempting parent, contempting family members, brothers, sisters, contempting friends, become enemy, friends become enemy, dislike each other. This kind of all hardship need to take for that purpose, only for that purpose, you see, only to get that gender object. For the purpose of looking for that gender object, you need to make enemy or contempt or disdain to one's own parent, one's own friends, family members, siblings, even though, right? Even within a siblings. And then friends. Look, now this is the hardshipness it's that Shantideva talking about, that you need to take in order to get that one, in order to obtain that one. And then jigba layan dashushins. And then need to involve our both physical and mental in a many scary things, many fearful things, needs to engage for that purpose, right? So here, this three things is one making that Shantideva was saying, for that purpose, need to involve in negative activity, even from the mundane point of view. On the other hand, those I would say, unrespected behavior, you need to involve. You need to do it, right? For that. And then also you need to go through many fearful things, both your physical and mental, for that purpose. Including, I think that fearful things, like including that needs to go there in a very midnight, these are very danger time to go out, isn't it? Physically, I mean, talking about the physically needs to involve in a fearful things, such as, like, I'm giving one example. For that to meet your this gender object, you need to come out and work out on the street in the midnight. This is just one example how physical needs to be involved in a fearful activities. And likewise, mental, yeah, right? So many fearful activities needs to involve to only to get that purpose, to fulfill that last, that attachment, to make that attachment satisfied. This is the second hardship that Shantideva was talking about. I think for me, this is the very penetrating. Penetrate? This is very penetrating. Yes, that's really forced us to involve ourselves into negative actions. And then even the unrespected from the mundane point of view behaviors and attitude. We need to do that for that. And then also we need to go through a lot of fearful activities, right? Fearful things. All this hardship we are doing for what? For what purpose? To only to fulfill, to obtain that gender object. That's all goal for doing all this hardship, taking all this hardship, isn't it? Now, that's really Shantideva here. This is something we need to contemplate here. That's why Shantideva was saying this three stanza before that. Abandoning or avoiding craving and lust by contemplating the hardship in obtaining, right? What are the hardship in order to obtain that gender object? What are the hardship that we need to go through? These are the hardship that which we just discussed. And then the third hardship is nor loss and ruin possession, belongings. Are we really need to exhaust all those belongings, our wealth, for that purpose? In ancient time, yes. And actually, this is nowadays too. Need to exhaust a lot of our belonging and wealth for that purpose. And especially in these countries, like when they divorce, then yes, they make you poor. They make each other poor, right? See, that's how exhausting wealth. That's the hardship. It is very hardship, isn't it?
The lawyers get
But Sean, lawyer himself has someone to exhaust. Lawyer, it's himself. At the end, there will be somebody to exhaust him. Don't worry, there will be another lawyer to exhaust this lawyer's wealth.
That sounds so evil.
Yeah, it is very funny. Yeah. Ayo, Lamache. Anyway, so yeah, this is actually even today, this is still there. That hardship is still there, right? Normally, but this is very simple. How we can prove this is very hardship? It's very simple that we can prove. Normally, if you let it go, even you are $100, it's very difficult to let it go, right? But at that moment, you have no choice. Anyhow, so in short, what Shantideva was saying here, contemplate on these 3 steps of hardshipness that you need to undergo for just to get that gender object. And then he's letting us compare. It is worth for you to take all this hardship to gain this gender object or not. That's on us now. We should make decision. Okay? And then he is telling, Shantideva was telling what is the outmost that we are looking for by taking all these 3 hardshipness is all for pleasure and the perfect bliss. They translated perfect bliss, okay? Anyway, so I don't know whether this is perfect bliss or not. That in Tibetan, we do not translate it that way, okay? Perfect bliss. Hold on. Oh, yeah. In Tibetan also we translate supreme bliss, not perfect. Yeah, supreme bliss. Yeah, supreme bliss. Yeah, within a bliss, that is the supreme one. Yeah, right? That is the supreme one. Yes, that's true. Supreme bliss. All for pleasure and the supreme bliss. That's better, I think, rather than perfect, isn't it? What does it? Same? Perfect? Super?
Perfect is similar.
Similar? Okay.
Perfect is without fault.
Perfect is without fault, right? And supreme is also without fault?
Top.
Huh?
The top.
Top. It only talks about the top, it does not describing the faults or default.
No, supreme is above all.
Above all. Okay. Yeah, actually, according to the mundane, that's the supreme bliss. That's the best bliss that you can achieve in a mundane, right? That's what it is talking about. That's why here it's talking about the supreme, the best bliss. And in short, I think it's better to just use the best bliss, right? Anyway, so all these 3 hardships, the purpose why we taking it is all for pleasure and the best bliss, okay, rather than perfect here, best bliss, that outmost penetrating kiss, embrace, right? Or if we little go like a very direct and then copulate, right? That is all. Yes. That's the outmost result that we are achieving by getting that gender object, right? What else we can achieve by getting that gender object? More than that, according to the mundane, okay? Now here, but yet now another Shantideva adding another point here to reduce our attachment and lust towards gender object is that he's saying, of what in truth is nothing but a heap of bones. They translated that. I think it's better to skeleton. It is none other than heap of skeleton. Skeleton, bones, yeah, okay, skeleton, bones. Kingru Nyi Shemina. Then actually that what you are also, that, okay, either male or female, taking all those above three hardship, out of that hardship, the fruition or the result, what we can achieve the outmost is the penitent case. That's what they're saying, right? Penitent case or embrace. That is the outmost fruition, looking by taking all this hardship. But in which we are kind of like taking as a best bliss with that object, right? And then now actually on the other hand, that object from which we are taking the best bliss or the perfect bliss is actually in truth, it's nothing but a heap of bones. Even Shantideva was letting us think on the other hand, if you really contemplate with the scrutinize, then this is what, from where you're taking this supreme, the perfect bliss. Is it the perfect object for take a perfect bliss? Think. Now that's what Shantideva was saying here, think. And then also, that object, the gender object, is devoid of self, right? So what does it mean, devoid of self? Yeah, in one hand it's empty, but on the other hand, what it is talking about, the devoid of self, is that, what do you call that? That's other person, right? So you cannot really possess 100%ly. You do not have, okay, it's say like, you do not have 100% liberty on it, right? Liberty on it, is it? Liberty on it. Because it is not yours. But where normally we think, she is mine or he is mine. Normally we talk that, right? But this is really truth. When they come to the point, no, they're not belonging each other anymore. I am I, you are you. Right? I have funny things also, one thing to tell. Normally, yes, when both are very kind of like a calm, peace, front of the many people, and then they will introduce, she is mine. And then she will going to say, he is mine, right? That's normally we say. But actually, from their bottom heart, no. That will revealed when some important thing is happening. Then you are you, mean I am I. You cannot control me. Then they will say that. Then at that time, she is not mine anymore. He is not mine anymore. I'll tell you one funny thing that one of my friend, he have some girlfriend, I think American girlfriend. And then he said to her, that normally they are just like boyfriend, girlfriend, right? Partner. And normally they are okay. And then one time they a little bit arguing. Argue is always there, right? But one occasion they are arguing. In argument, okay, in an argument, he said that. He said, I think you thinking about me. See, I think you think about me. And then very funny thing, what she respond to him? Okay, now I don't have to think. You will going to think for me. Right? If she is mine, then what's wrong with the thinking of her, right? You see, now that's really showing that's not belonging to anyone, huh? She said that. Okay, now I don't have to think because you are thinking for me. When they are happy, calm, yes, they like to think. They, how to say, I like to think for me, right? I want you to think for me. That's normally okay, right? Anyway, so that's what it is they were saying here, that devoid of self without autonomy. Without autonomy means that others not belonging. Here in Tibetan, Rawan Dane, Da Min Las. Because of that other object is not, you cannot possess 100% or control, right? You cannot control because that is that, not you. That is not your belonging things, not your possess, right? Not your things. That is another person, right? Rab tu deji yongshene chichir nyangin de midros. In this, the only object of desire and lust, soon passed beyond all suffering and grief. What do you understand from this true line now? I lost it in this meaning. I cannot understand by this English. Are you getting at? Anyone who can, you all in a Zoom, you can also tell me that what are you getting it from this last two line of stanza 42? In this, the only object of desire and lust, sooner passed beyond all suffering and grief. Huh? It's short. Sooner pass beyond all suffering and grief.
It's better to pass beyond all suffering and grief. So to give up this heap of bones and put your energies on a spiritual path. Put that energy of desire on a spiritual path, which will sooner or later bring you to a point beyond suffering and grief.
Okay, yeah, then that's right. Just I'm not getting it because of my English. I think that's also, yeah, okay, then that's right. Rabdu Dej Yongshenes. You see that why you are extremely desiring and attaching to that object. Why not? Why don't you just leave this behind and then go to the liberation? That's what it is talking about. Why are you not going to parinirvana or like a liberation? Right? Why are you not going to liberations? Why you are extremely stuck in this attach and last? So in short now here, the mainly it's talking about the, okay, even that now to achieve liberation, this craving or lust to this gender object should be abandoned. Bottom line, that's the one. Should be abandoned by contemplating on that hardship and its nature. Two things, right? Hardship talking about three things, and then one thing is just talking about Shantideva was letting us contemplate a little bit upon its nature, its true nature, right? Its true nature. Contemplate on all these things and then lay it low and remove this craving for it. Okay, so maybe today we just stop here. Okay. So now we dedicate our merit of studying. Sunam di tamje ziba nyin, tomne nye ben danam pamje ne, shega nanji walan tubayi, sibin zolen dowan dowar shu, jambal bawe jidara kimbanda, kundu zambo deyan de jinde, deda kunjin jizun daloji, gewan de da tamje rabdo ngo, gewan de she okun, sanam yeshe tsozone, sanam yeshe le jungwe, tamba kunyin tobarasho, sanje kusum nyebe chinlam dan, chenye menjuru dembe chinlam dan, yenden meche dembe chinlam ki, jidara ngoa melam dubarsho. By this beneficial activities, may I obtain omniscience, and having vanquished the harmful enemies, greedy, anger, delusion, may I liberate all being tossed about helplessly by the waves of birth, aging, illness, and death in the ocean of becoming. By conforming to the knowledges of courageous Manjushri, Jambalyang, and in the same way as Samandabhatra, Kundasambo, and following their example, I dedicate perfectly all this virtue. By this virtue, may all being perfectly achieve the accumulation of merit, sunnam, and wisdom, yeshe, and may they thereafter obtain the two holy bodies which result from these two accumulation. By the blessing of the Buddha, Sanje, who obtained the three bodies, by the blessing of the immutable truth of the Dharmata, Chenye, by the blessing of the infallible aspiration of the Sangha, Gendin, may this prayer of dedication be accomplished just as it is. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you.